Okay. Hey, what's up everybody? Gonna be prepping a new bed. I'm gonna show you how I do it at the new plot, and gonna be taking out these beet greens and replanting with baby kale and baby mizuna for my salad mixes. And I'll be checking in from time to time to talk to you guys and explain what I'm doing. The first thing I'm gonna do is just take off my lines. And I love taking off my lines now with my new irrigation design and manifold. And I've got a video all about this. Hey, Carrie. So if you want to learn how to make these manifolds, I've got a video on my YouTube under my playlist, irrigation. So I've just got too many beet greens. The sound's not great. Well, I don't have an external microphone. It's just coming out of my phone right now. I'll eventually make a better live setup, but I'm just getting started with this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is use my greens harvester to take off the remaining beet greens. I've just got way too many right now, and it's time to replant. So I'll be making compost with this and feeding the rest to my chickens. And I'll be showing you guys the whole way through. I'm going to use the greens harvester. I'll be using the tilther, replanting with the earthway seeder, and then at the end, once the sun goes down a little more, I brought over my compost worm tea, and I mixed in a bunch of Korean natural farming nutrients in there as well, so I'll be spraying that out here to add a lot of biology and foliar nutrients as well. So the first thing I need to do is just remove the crop residue, and I really love using the greens harvester for that. Then I'll come in with a hula hoe, remove a little bit more of it, And then whatever's left, I'm gonna tilth into the soil and let the soil break that down as extra nutrients. And then because this soil is a lot different than my the soil over at my other plot, because I brought in a ton of compost, and you can see exactly how I made this plot in my video on YouTube. But this soil, it holds a lot more moisture and it's looser. So when I come in with the hula hoe, it actually kind of messes it up and makes it a little more difficult. So I found that using the tilther to just kind of turn in the remaining stuff does really well. And then I seed directly into it. And I'll show you over here. I've just been experimenting more and more with like the least amount of work as possible and the least amount of till as possible. So this is an arugula bed. I didn't even come in here with a hula hoe. All I did was turn it under with the tilther, and then I seeded directly over the top of that. I didn't add any compost either. You can see the last crop was lettuce. So there's a little bit that tried to come back, but it's not too bad. So this is a technique that I'm constantly playing with, trying to get better at, and learned a bunch from the No-Till Market Gardening podcast from Farmer Jesse and his guest that came on his show. So I'd recommend that podcast to everybody. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. If you haven't tried beet greens before, they're super good. Sorry for all the car noise and stuff. I think everybody's coming home from work right now. But it's delicious and adds a really nice pop of color to your salad mix. My main buyers are farmers market customers. I also have some private customers. And now that the spring and summer is coming, I need to either go to another market, or I'm gonna need to get a restaurant or start a big CSA. That's kind of my next jump for my business with this new plot here. I'm gonna need a lot more customers. So I'll be telling you guys a lot more about that on the channel. Okay, ready for the next step now. Okay, so normally I wouldn't be getting rid of this many greens, but as I said, I'm kind of in transition right now, about to get a lot more, need to find some more customers somewhere else. I've just been busy building my greenhouse. I'm going to Texas next week. Just got a million things going on, so making all the YouTube videos and stuff. So unfortunately, I'm going to lose a little bit of money not selling this, but it's all good. So now I'm gonna experiment here. Let's see what the hula hoe does. Now, last time when I did it, it just I didn't really like the effect. Let's see. So what it kind of does is it just mixes a lot of the greens into the dirt, which is okay, but it takes some time to come back in and go through it, sift through it, and throw it in a box here. So I think what I'll do is I'll just do a really quick hula hoe, and then I'll tilth the rest into the ground and just let it decompose into the soil itself. And if you guys want to ask any questions, feel free. I may not be able to answer them because I gotta keep working. But if you super chat me and I don't answer it live, then send me an email to steven@naturesalwaysright.com and I'll answer any of your super chat questions tonight. So I'm gonna hula hoe it, then the next step is to get the tilther out. So I'm just gonna work the ground a little bit just to kind of get, because there's so much greens left that I want to get a little bit more out of the ground, rough up these roots so that they don't grow back when I seed my next crop. Okay, now that I got everything lightly cultivated, I'm just gonna come through with a rake and just get the real easy to get stuff, and I'll leave whatever's behind because you really don't need to get every little piece out of the ground. And it's even beneficial to the soil to leave it and actually shove it back into the ground. So next is the tilther. So here's the tilther, and if you're familiar with these tools, this is the quick cut greens harvester from Farmer's Friend. This is the tilther from Johnny's Seeds. They're both excellent tools, and they run off of a drill, so they're really cool. The greens harvester, that's my favorite farming tool of all time, for market gardeners at least. That's been the biggest game changer, I think, if you grow salad mixes or baby greens. Okay, so the tilter's ready, and then, oh yeah, I just need to rake up a little bit of this. Okay. So when I'm raking, I'm doing it really lightly. I'm not trying to dig into the soil whatsoever because I'm just trying to get the very surface, so I just get the leaves and the stems, and I don't mix up a bunch of soil in because I don't want to take the soil out of here, right? So I just kind of flick at it and make a little pile and keep moving. Cool, so that's gonna be good enough. And now I'll just pick it up and then we're gonna tilt it in. And I don't know if you noticed, but I think it's a really good idea to, when you're working, to switch hands. So I'll use my left hand forward and rake, go for that for a little while, then switch to my right hand forward and rake. And that way you're getting more of a balanced workout for your body, and you're not just using one side, and you're kind of developing some other muscles for yourself. So we, you know, we do a lot of physical work as farmers, so we don't want to wear out one side of our body. If we keep it more balanced, it'll just be better. Oh, thank you. Ow. Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard that. Somebody just drove by and was like, "We love seeing your garden." So like that's the power of this. That's the power of small farming and market gardening, especially in people's front yards and backyards. It's the biggest testament to growing food naturally and the health of people, and it's really awesome. I think that that's one of the biggest things we provide as small farmers is we're like a I don't know, evangelists in a way for the small farming movement, because they can see it, right? People in the city can see what's going on. They're not going out to the country to see how farming's done. So when it's right here, right in front of them, boom, they get it. So what's really cool is, even though I picked up a small amount of dirt, it's not much, but all this dirt is inoculant for my compost pile. So that's why I like to think of it as. Okay. I think I'm just going to do one more rake just to get any other loose stuff. This is my bed prep rake. It's 28 inches, which is the perfect size for a 30-inch bed. Now I'll just rake into the pathway and not worry about it. Okay, so now this is ready. And the other reason for raking it again was it's a little bit flatter now, and which makes it easier for the tilther to work, because then it'll if it has a flatter path to move on, it just works a heck of a lot better. So let's see here, how much battery I got. All right, next. So here we go with the tilther. And it, it's the same rotational energy like a tiller, but it's very, very light, and it only tills the top 1 to 2 inches. So it has a minimal effect on the soil. Okay, that's it. We're almost there, almost ready for seeding now. See, as you can tell, it's pretty quick. Even if I'm talking to you guys, I can get a bed prepped and replanted, 45 minutes maybe. So now check this out. So now you can see how the tilther just kind of turned in all the remaining leaves and chopped up the rest of the roots I didn't get with the hula hoe. So this is good enough to seed into. You can leave this much crop residue behind and it's actually going to be okay. So before I seed this, I just need to get a decently flat seed bed. It does not need to be perfect whatsoever. I keep experimenting, like I say, with less and less work and effort to see what I can get away with. And when you use a direct seeder like the Earthway or the Jong JP1, it just punches a little furrow into the ground, so it doesn't even matter if you have it perfectly flat. Hey, thanks for the sub, guys. All right, so here we go. And like I said, if you want to ask me any specific questions, I probably won't be able to answer any, but if you super chat me and send me an email to Steven@nature'salwaysright, I'd be happy to answer your questions for you. Okay, so, oh yeah, let's just do a real quick raking, and I'll use my bed prep rake, which is the 28-inch rake. Sorry if you're in Australia, Europe, or Canada. I don't know what that converts to in millimeters. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to use the back of the rake on this. If I was to use the teeth, it would pull up a lot of the greens that I just turned under with the tilther. So just want to be careful. So I'm going to just, push the dirt where it needs to. And we're not going to get too crazy with the flatness because, like I said, I want to keep those greens under the soil so the microbes go to work and eat them. And they'll be decomposed in a few days, actually. It doesn't take very long. now what you're seeing me do is create an edge to the bed. And that helps when it's, you know, being watered. The water doesn't run off. Makes it a little bit easier for me to seed and everything. Okay, so now I'm ready for the earthway, and let's go set that up together, and I'll try to answer a few questions right now. Whew. It's warm in San Diego. You guys wouldn't believe me. It's like in the 70s. Okay, so here's the earthway seeder. This is the seeder I'd recommend for any beginning gardener or farmer just getting started. I mean, people use this even on a larger scale, like an acre. If you're at a larger scale, you're more experienced, then the Jong JP1 is the seeder to get. That's the best single row seeder on the market. The way this thing works, it has a hopper, you put the seeds in. Inside is a seed plate. If you have the earthway, I use the radish plate for a lot of my baby mix stuff because I want it to drop out a ton of seed. I'll do about 10 or 11 rows. I used to do more rows, like I tried to max it like 12 or 13. But I realized when I'm dumping that much seed and I have that many rows, there's too much crowding actually. So lessening down to 10 or 11 rows is better. Also, Eric Schultz has talked about that in his recent videos. He just switched over to the Jong 5-row, and that's for like large scale, 2 acres or maybe more, maybe 1 acre or more. You can get the 5-row and justify it. So I'm going to be seeding this bed with baby red Russian kale and baby Mizuna. And if you don't know, those are both Brassica family plants. They're the same family. I'm always planting the same families in the same beds together at the same time to keep my crop rotations correct. And if you're on a small scale like I am, doing these half beds is a really great way to keep your diversity while still having not that many beds. Another brassica combination I like is half radish with half whatever other brassica. So, should I do Mizuna or red Russian first? I'll try to answer a couple questions real quick before I move on. What's he planting? I'll tell you in a minute. Croatia, awesome. North Carolina, what's up everybody? Arizona. What would you use if you did not? If I didn't have the tilther, then I would need maybe a wheel hoe, or I'd have to take a lot more time with the hula hoe, like getting those roots out and stuff. So that's why I bought the tilther originally, because I was hoping it would really help reduce the amount of work and effort, and it really does do that. It's an expensive tool. It's over $600 shipped, but I have found it really beneficial for myself. Thank you guys for watching too. It's so cool that there's 41 people out there that even care to see farming stuff, so it's awesome. All right, what should I do first here? Well, I'm just gonna go for it. We're doing red Russian kale. All right, let me set up the camera and then we'll start. Oh, oops. I forgot to readjust my plow here. I need to put it to like 1/2 inch. I do all my baby mixes around 1/2 inch. And this sets the depth at which it's gonna drop the seed. If you guys want to know how I developed this property, I did it 100% no-till, and there was Bermuda grass and all sorts of other problems here. If you want to learn how I addressed all that, I've got a video describing the whole process and showing you how I did it, and also the whole irrigation system as well, if you want to set something similar to this. All right. Here we go. It's a little weird. I'm dealing with these walls and stuff. It's kind of a different scenario than my other property, but it's kind of cool. Here we go. And you may have noticed I went to the halfway point of the bed, then came back. I split my beds in half like that because it's much easier to harvest with the greens harvester. If you did them like parallel, that was a B, side by side, it'd be way too tricky to harvest. So I don't recommend that. Split them in half. Watch out, B. What else? Oh, if you follow my Instagram, if you guys want to see updates to what I'm doing, I always come back and I'll do an Instagram story or something, and then I'll show you guys it's sprouting, so I can prove to you that even though there's lots of crop residue left, it's going to be completely fine. Okay, so that's 4 rows. Six rows. Eight, and then 9 and 10. It's a little weird going against a wall, but it's what we got to deal with in the urban environment. So I'll put the seeds back and then load the Mizuna, seed that, and then I'm done. And then the next thing I'll do, I'll kind of show you guys my weed pressure I'm dealing with, so I can show you how cool and like successful it was starting everything no-till. And then I'll talk about my compost and worm tea and the Korean natural farming nutrients that I added to that today. So here's the Mizuna. This is from True Leaf Market or Mountain Valley Seed Company. Uh-oh. Crap, I should have brought another seed packet over here. Hopefully I have enough. If not, I'll just throw red Russian over there. Just enough seed, made it. So that's it. And these beds are still pretty wet from the rains. So what I'll do, I'll put the lines back on. I'll water it by hand, just with a hose, because it's not gonna take much time at all. And then I'm gonna set up my sprinkler system. Actually, it's already on every day for 5 minutes. And then we're gonna have rain coming on Thursday. So I just gotta keep it wet tomorrow, and then the rain's gonna do the rest of the work for me. What's up, Ontario? I do feel bad for the worms versus rototiller. Don't worry about the tilther, man. I'm telling you, like it does not really disturb soil biology. I've been watching what it does, and it's very minimal. So this is called minimal till. And the reason I'm doing it is because it saves so much time. You know, this is a business. There are some little shortcuts that we do need to take, but because my soil biology is so awesome and I'm adding new biology all the time, I'm about to spray out a bunch of really good stuff after this. I've seen really no effect on the soil. And I'm trying to tilth less and less. When I do transplants, I don't tilth. The only time I ever tilth with that machine is for the greens mixes. And that's because it just kind of requires it. So all right, so now I'm going to put the lines back on, and this is what's so cool about my new manifold design. It makes it so easy to do by myself. Definitely check out my video about it on my channel. So I got to pressurize the system, and then we'll do it. So this whole 4-line drip tape system hooks up to one valve basically, and I just teed it into the ground. So now watch this. And I can kind of pull on it to get it tight. Check that out. All by myself, and it comes out equidistant. So this was like the game changer for me, was figuring out how to make this manifold the best way possible. So check out my video. What's it called? It's all about this plot. It was in my last like 10 or 15 videos about building irrigation systems. I got a playlist in my YouTube channel about it. Okay, so that's it. I'm just gonna spray this with some water, and then we can move on to some other things. Thanks for watching, everybody. So now, let you guys watch from here. So, oh, that's my irrigation system. Very simple, just an orbit timer. That's a Boogie Brew filter right there to get rid of chlorine. And my hose, I can just shoot out over everything. So I don't knock you over. Uh-oh. Landlord's home. Just gonna hit this baby arugula bed too, and then I'll talk to you guys again. Hey, how are you? Replant, yeah. The next crop. Yeah. Welcome home. Welcome home. Oh man. All right, got a little roasty toasty the last few days, so I'm just kind of hitting everything, giving a little bit of moisture on here. That's a really good trick in really hot weather in summer. If you spray water on your plants, there's an evaporative cooling effect. You know, just like a swamp cooler. And that's one of the tricks to growing lettuce in like 100-degree weather. You do 50-50 shade cloth, and then you're spraying it with water like every 30 minutes for like 1 minute. And that's how Steadfast Farm and Ray, what's his name, of Rose Creek does it. All right, so we're done. Okay, I want to show you the weeds. So there you go, bed prep in less than an hour, totally done. So, there was a lot of Bermuda grass out here, but now I have a really hard time finding it. Barely any of it has come through. So you're seeing like some grasses here. Here's some Bermuda grass I pulled out earlier. So just one. This is the worst type of grass ever. Whatever this crabgrass or something, whatever it is. It's not bad. It's super easy to get. Anyways, as you can see, it's real minimal. And here's where you can see how I did it. You see all this cardboard? Well, I laid out a sheet, or sheets, across this entire property, and I got all the cardboard for free from a garage door company from my buddy Rusty. So thank you, Rusty, if you're watching. But what that did, snuffed out any of the weeds that wanted to come up. I also, before I put the cardboard down, I dug up a lot of the Bermuda and just got rid of it. Then dumped all this compost on there, planted into it, and now you kind of see the result. So really happy. I didn't know how well it was going to work originally, but yeah, I can't say enough good things about doing that method. It really does work. So the next thing now, we've almost lost our light. I like to spray my teas close to the evening so that no light is hitting it after I spray it, because that would kill a lot of the biology. So let's see here, what else can I show you? Let's check this out. This is where I'm doing some of my herbs. I do dill, cilantro, and parsley for my herbs. And then this is some, it's a crisp head lettuce, which is the type of lettuce that iceberg is. And this one, gosh, what's it called? It's a special type of iceberg lettuce. Oh, Hanson Improved. I've never grown iceberg, but everyone loves iceberg, right? And I've never seen it grown really organically, or I've never seen it at the farmer's market. So I wanted to try it out and see how the customers like it. You know, you guys are gonna be real jealous, I'm sorry, but I planted these tomatoes like, I don't know, a month ago or something, so in the middle of winter. And this is a south-facing spot, so they've just, you know, thrived. There's even some fruit on here. It's still a little cool, so they're not doing very good fruit, but oh, here's a few. Yeah, this looks like a yellow pear, I think. It was just kind of a random tomato that sprouted in my yard, and then I brought it over here. So that's what's going on over here. So now let's go look at the tea. If you got any in-depth questions you'd like me to answer, or you just appreciate me putting this content out, you can send a donation to paypal.me/naturesalwaysright. There's a link down in the description below, or super chat me, send me an email, steven@naturesalwaysright. I'd love to answer your questions and help you any way that I can for your garden or your market garden or farm. So here's my sprayer that I use. It's just a backpack pump sprayer. It's made by Chapman. Oh, and one more thing, don't feel obligated to give me any money, but every little bit helps to keep my farm going and to keep putting out this education for everybody. So I really appreciate anybody who's willing to do that for me. But if you're low on money or something, don't give me your money, I don't want it. So this is the Chapman Sprayer. They're really cheap on Amazon, like 50 bucks or something. And this thing's lasted me for 2 years without really any issues. So I like it. And for my smaller scale of like 5,000 square feet of grow space, I think it makes sense. Eventually I want to switch over, and I'd like to be able to inject my teas into my drip system directly, or I also, instead of spraying it foliarly through a backpack sprayer, I want it to run through a sprinkler system. And then I don't have to do any work. I just, you know, hit go. And I can get all the biology out there without taking the time and effort. So that's a project I want to work on soon. So before I came over here, I loaded this thing up with 2 gallons of my compost and worm tea that I fed a bunch of different fungal foods. You can see how I make my formula in a video, of course, on my YouTube channel. If you just search worm tea on my channel. The other things I added to this, I added some Korean natural farming inputs. One of them is lactic acid bacteria. That's something I made recently, and if you're familiar with like orchard sprays, they call it EM1, Effective Microorganisms 1, which is lactic acid bacteria, but I've collected it wild from my environment, so it's a superior mix of those bacteria. It's really good for leafy greens, helps to protect the plant, improves the health overall. It's also something that we can drink as humans, and it helps improve our gut biology. All the biology of the soil and even our human body is connected deeply. And I'd really recommend looking looking up this one podcast, the Rich Roll podcast featuring Zach Bush. It's probably one of the most important podcasts I've ever listened to. He connects human health, soil health, regenerative farming, all these things together like I've never seen anybody do. And talking all about the glyphosate problem that's destroying our guts, that's destroying the soil, and all these, glyphosate is Roundup if you don't know. Anyways, what else did I put in here? My buddy Forrest, who's really into Korean natural farming and helped me get started in it, he made me some nutrients. So also in here is some fermented plant juice, and that's made by mixing. You can do it with any plant basically. You mix 1-to-1 the plant with brown sugar, and what that's doing is extracting the microbes, kind of the hormones, metabolites of the plant, and then you're able to spray that out over the same type of plant, and it has a really beneficial effect. So you can collect during the vegetative state of a plant and spray it during the vegetative state. You could collect it during the fruiting part of a plant, like a famous one is banana flowers. Then you could spray that on your tomatoes or any plant that fruits. And there's a few other nutrients in here too. And Korean natural farming, something I'm studying right now and trying to get better at, and I'll talk a lot more about it on my channel soon. So I just need to add water. And I dilute my tea 50-50. That kind of depends on how much worm castings and different nutrients that you put in. But for my formula that I use, which you can find on my YouTube channel, I do 50-50 and it works great. Okay, that's all there is to it, and then I just pump and go. So something else that's pretty cool about spraying teas is that, it does take some extra time, but as I'm spraying, I'm looking at each plant individually. It gives me a chance to see if there's address any issues and see if there's something going on that I missed. Also, as the heat builds up, we're gonna get more aphids and insects and things like that. And by spraying it with high pressure, I can blast those aphids off or whatever the bug is. And what teas will actually do is put a nutrient layer on the plant. You're adding a bunch of different beneficial bacteria and fungi on there as well. So that can help to combat fungal problems or even the bugs themselves, because it just they don't like it very much. So there's a little bit of that beneficial effect as well. And of course, the main benefit is we're trying to just increase the health of our plants to the maximum ability so that they can fight the insects themselves. They have all the abilities to resist pest and disease within themselves if they have the right biology available to them. Okay, so I'm gonna spray. I'll try to, let me see if there's any questions, and then I'll spray, come back, and I'm sure it is lagging. I'm just on my 4G here. Oh man, some of you guys have some cold temps right now. I'm sorry. Spring is coming. The drip tape, I get all my drip parts from dripdepot.com. If you do buy any drip irrigation, I'd love for you to use my my link from Drip Depot, because they give me a kickback. If you look at any of my irrigation videos, you can use my link. I'd really appreciate it. All right, here we go. Let's spray this. If you have any more questions, just go ahead and ask. I'll put you guys here. Okay. There we go. as I'm spraying, I'm just trying to coat the entire plant. You know, I try to get underneath if I can. You know, I try not to take too long to do this. And then I try to coat the soil as well. And I'm inoculating the whole ground and adding a ton of nutrients. Bunch of cilantro right here. Just to show you how safe this stuff is. All right, all done. So that 4 gallons was like perfect. This is like a 1,200 square foot area. With Zach Bush is the name of that podcast. Dr. Zach Bush and Rich Roll. All right, so now I'm all done over here. So let's see, when did I start the stream? Like an hour and 20 minutes, you know, and then I'm coming over here like once a week to harvest and once a week to, you know, prep the beds and replant and do whatever else I got to do. So it's pretty minimal as far as the amount of work goes. And I'll try not to say this too loud, but, you know, you're looking at well over $1,000 worth of produce. So it's quite a lot. All right, so I'm gonna clean up, but I'll just keep the stream going. And I don't know, if the battery will last, I'll take you guys back to my other property, my main house, and then we can go check out the greenhouse that I just finished building. And it's a Bootstrap farmer greenhouse. So let me just grab a few things and I'll be ready. Almost there. So let me park. And that's it, we're back home. Pretty fast, huh? I waited many, many months before I found the right property that was close enough. So, I'm not gonna unpack anything, I'll just take you guys straight back there, so don't waste your time. Just let me lock my truck. All right, so let's go check out the greenhouse and everything else. So I'll show you guys what I got going on back here and some of the newer stuff. So everything's looking real healthy and good out here. Here's the new greenhouse. This is the Bootstrap Farmer greenhouse, and Bootstrap Farmer is an awesome, awesome company doing small farming stuff. So inside of here, all these tables are used. I didn't buy any of this. Either was given it, or this is like an old mattress frame, and I turned it into a table. My buddy Rusty gave me this. It's gonna be perfect for growing microgreens on. This is going to be my like soil blocking and plug tray area. You know, got some new lettuce coming up. I'm a little behind. I should already have my tomatoes going. I've just been so busy. So that's what I'm doing over the next 2 days. I'm going to be just seeding like crazy, thousands of transplants. And let's see here. What else I got going on? You know, all my greens are doing good. Charred kale, collards. Just pruned my grapes. I'll have a video coming out about that soon. And lettuce mixes, heads of lettuce coming up. Here's the chooks. They're finally starting to lay eggs again after a few months of winter. And yeah, things are looking good out here. Everything's growing well. The rain will be nice. Need to prune up that apple tree next. And here's another couple projects I'm working on. Two of my buddies, other local farmers, I'm building them some salad spinners. And if I have I have 2 videos about how to build these if you're interested. And you know, just runs off an old washing machine. You use these baskets to put the baby greens in. So this is specifically for washing baby greens. That's what everybody uses these for. And I just use the stock controls on the washers.